It's another Raw video from your favorite YouTube scout, Draftrawthentic. Yes, I'm finally here making another video, and like I said, it's a Raw one, so there will be no edits. And in today's video, it is another draft breakdown, and this one is for the NFC North team, the Detroit Lions. I already did the Green Bay Packers, so if you want to see the Packers draft breakdown, you can visit that video. It should be basically in my video in the playlist of the 2018 NFL Draft Prospects. Also, I already finished the AFC North, so if you want to see any of those teams or one of those teams or your favorite team, you can go check that out. It's good draft breakdowns, but today's video, like I said, is about the Detroit Lions. So you know what? Let's just get into it. In the first round, they picked my favorite offensive lineman in the draft, and that is Frank Ragnow. I believe that Frank Ragnow didn't start to get a lot of hype until closer to the draft. I believe he was like hurt, and he should have played at the Senior Bowl or should have participated at the Combine, and he just didn't get to. And people was thinking, well, that may drop him, but the way he played this college season, he was the most technically sound center of all college football. On top of that, he's a 6'5", 300-pound center. I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan, and one of our needs kind of was a center. He was a guy that I was thinking, oh, yeah, we got to get him. And I was thinking third or fourth round, like centers drop. But he was that good that he could be a first-round center. And that's where he got picked up. The Detroit Lions, I won't try to give a grade, but if I was to give a grade for that pick, I gave it an A+. I think that they got a need, and they got a player that will be a perennial Pro Bowler for years to come at the center position. So, great pick, Detroit. In the second round, they picked up Kerryon Johnson. I'm not the hugest fan of Kerryon, but I will say this. I feel as though people were hyping him more as to being the next Le'Veon Bell, which I got tired of hearing, and I think that I just stopped liking him. And it wasn't like I ever really liked him, but it was one of those things when I looked at his tape and I was just like, this dude ain't no Le'Veon Bell. And on top of that, what people don't know is that Le'Veon didn't run the style that he runs in the NFL and college. He was a straight hit the hole run type of guy. He didn't do that patient type of running style. So in the NFL, I think he starts to do that so he can slow down everything, and then he can burst through the hole. If Kerryon is doing that now in college, that's going to hurt him in the NFL because we've seen it so many times. That's why I believe that he may not be the running back that you think he will be. Now, not to say he ain't a good running back, but he's just in one of those situations where I think Auburn had a really good offensive line, and they just had a team that clicked all the way with everything that they did. Now, I'm not trying to kind of lower him down. I just think that maybe he was drafted a little bit too high, but at the same time, I don't feel as though he's a bad running back. I just think that the hype on him was getting too high for what I think of him as a player, period. But I think he is a solid running back that will contribute as a playmaker for the Detroit Lions team, but I'm not sure if the Detroit Lions have still found their #1 running back that they've been looking for since Barry Sanders, to be honest with you. Anyway, in the third round, they chose Tracy Walker, safety from Louisiana Lafayette. I said it in my Packers video. This is one of those players that I just did not get to see. It happens. I used 2 websites. None of those websites had this dude's name, so before the draft happens, every single prospect I've seen, I've looked over 250 prospects. He wasn't one of those guys that I saw, so I can't give a real good description about what type of player he is or who he is or anything like that. I just know that the Lions, they kind of needed safety but kind of didn't. I think that their safeties are maybe a little bit better than what they give credit for, but at the same time, whatever it is what it is. I don't know what to say about them picking a safety at this position. And maybe they should have actually got a corner. But who knows? Who knows what Tracy Walker is going to do when he comes into the league. But I'm not going to try to give y'all a description of what somebody else says. I got to give you from what I know and what I've seen, and I can't give it to you. So anyway, I got to skip that, and I got to go to the 4th round, and that is Da'Shawn Hand. Da'Shawn Hand was probably one of the most overhyped defensive linemen in the draft class, well, during the college football season, Daron Payne clearly was the best defensive lineman from Alabama, while Deshaun Hand kind of ride the coattails of him. I saw a guy that was inconsistent. I saw a guy that couldn't find the ball. I saw the guy that was kind of lost and, you know, just was not, you didn't see the same traits that you saw from Daron Payne. I think Deshaun Hand just kind of plays a little wild and doesn't play with any real technique or anything. Like, not say he doesn't have technique, but it seemed a little weird of the way he played, and he just seemed like he's one of those, another basically Alabama defensive lineman that may just end up being just a regular guy in the NFL. But if he can carve out a role as a run stopper, then he'll be pretty good. He'll be pretty solid for what Detroit Lions are trying to build there. So maybe they can get that out of him, and we'll see. Maybe it'll work. But I wasn't a huge fan of the player itself, so I'm not a huge fan of the pick. Then in the 5th round, a lot of people say they got to steal at Terrell Crosby. I'm going to say this about Terrell. I think Terrell is an okay offensive tackle, but he's one of those guys that when I watched, I wasn't sure if he was a left tackle or right tackle. I couldn't tell if he was a good pass blocker. It seemed like scheme-wise, it made him look better as a left tackle. It's kind of like a situation with Orlando Brown where he's not a great left tackle prospect for the NFL, but he'd probably be a good right tackle prospect because of how big he is. You don't want to put him at left tackle because of his feet. Now, Terrell has better feet than Orlando Brown, but it's one of those things where I think that he would actually thrive more on the right side, which then I guess if you look at it in a situation, I just thought about it, Taylor Decker, who was one of my favorite prospects coming out back in 2016, I called that one, but I just don't have it on video. But anyway, Terrell Crosby can then play that right tackle, and now you got a good, you know, bookend tackles for Matthew Stafford to keep upright, to then keep throwing those bullets to guys like Marvin Jones and Golden Tate. So I think that when it comes to this, it's a good pick for if he becomes what they think he's going to be. And then last but not least, in the 7th round, because they didn't have a 6th round pick, they chose Nick Bolden from, I forgot what school, but he's a fullback. And obviously, I don't watch kickers, I don't watch punters, I don't watch long snappers, and I dag sure don't watch fullbacks. To me, you can find a fullback anywhere, so I just don't watch that stuff. I mean, I just don't. I'm sorry, I can't give a description of what type of player he is. It is what it is. I'm sorry. But anyway, I can just say that I don't know if they actually needed a fullback, technically, but they went out and got one. But when it comes down to it, Detroit Lions, I don't think that they capitalized on the draft as that well. If I would say, I mean, the first pick is the only pick that I love, while the rest of the picks are just like meh. So I'm going to have to say that they would be losers of the NFL draft. But we have to see where this team is at 3 years from now, and if these players actually made a contribution to if this team can go on and be a perennial perennial playoff team, and even or eventually win a Super Bowl like the Philadelphia Eagles did this year. But anyway, that is my draft breakdown for the Detroit Lions. If you like this video and you want to see more videos, please subscribe. If you like this video, once again, then just please hit that like button. Please share this video, and please comment. If you didn't like what I had to say about the Detroit Lions picks or the Detroit Lions themselves or whatever it is, you can comment, you can debate, and like I said, when you share this video, other people can see it, other people can join the comments, other people can debate, and we can have this huge drafting community. Once again, this is Draftrawthentic, and I thank you for watching. Goodbye.